How many times have you stayed up at night, staring at the ceiling, stressing over something you can't control? How many times have you worried about your future, your finances, your family, wondering if things will ever get better? You pray, but deep down you still feel that doubt creeping in. But listen to me. God's got you. See, some of you right now are in the middle of a storm, and the enemy wants you to believe you won't make it out. But let me tell you something. The devil is a liar. If God brought you this far, he's not about to drop you now. The only thing standing between you and your breakthrough is your faith. So the question is, are you going to let worry win, or are you going to stand on God's promises? If you walk away from this speech today, I want you to walk away knowing one thing. No matter what it looks like, no matter what it feels like, God's plan for you is bigger than your problems. So sit tight, because by the time this is over, you never look at worry the same way again. Some of y'all are acting like God ain't in control. You worry like you don't serve the creator of the universe. You're stressing over that bill, that job, that relationship, like God hasn't already mapped out your next move. Let me tell you something. Faith and fear can't live in the same house. See, God already told you, be anxious for nothing. Philippians 4:6. That means if you're worrying, you're not trusting. If you're stressing, you're not resting in his promise. Some of y'all are asking God to open doors, but when he cracks them open, you hesitate because you're scared. You want the blessing, but you're not ready to step into it. Let me ask you this. Do you trust him or not? Because if you do, you got to start acting like it. When the bank account is low, when the job application is denied, when the doctor gives you bad news, do you still believe? Or do you start doubting the very same God that has brought you through every storm before? See, the enemy wants you to focus on the problem. He wants you to feel stuck, to feel defeated, to believe there's no way out. But let me tell you something. Your struggles are just a seat for your testimony. What you're going through right now is only temporary. God's timing is perfect, even when you don't understand it. Some of y'all are frustrated because you think God's not moving fast enough. But let me remind you, delayed doesn't mean denied. Just because you don't see it yet doesn't mean it's not coming. God is working behind the scenes, setting things up, aligning people, shifting circumstances, all for you. So what do you do in the meantime? You praise him like it's already done. You thank him like you already got the job, the healing, the breakthrough, because when you start believing before you see it, that's faith. And faith moves mountains. I need you to walk out of here today with a new mindset. No more worry, no more fear, no more doubt. You serve a God that has never failed, and he's not about to start now. The next time the enemy tries to whisper lies in your ear, you tell him, I know who I serve, and God's got me. When worry starts creeping in, you remind yourself, I walk by faith, not by sight. I don't care what it looks like right now. Your breakthrough is on the way, but you got to believe it. So from this moment forward, no more stressing, no more second guessing, no more sleepless nights. God is in control, and you are already victorious. Now go out there and walk like you know God's got you. Fear and worry will rob you of everything God has planned for you. They whisper lies in your ear, telling you that you're not good enough, that you'll never make it, that things will never change. But let me ask you, how many blessings have you blocked because you were too afraid to step into what God had for you? How many opportunities have you let slip away because worry made you hesitate? See, fear doesn't come from God. He didn't create you to walk around anxious, stressed, and doubting your future. That's the enemy trying to keep you stuck. The enemy knows that if he can get you to focus on your problems instead of God's promises, he's already won. But let me remind you, God didn't give you a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. 2 Timothy 1:7. Every Every time you let worry take over, you're giving fear control of your future. But faith and fear cannot live in the same house. You got to make a decision. Are you going to let fear run your life? Or are you going to trust that God already worked it out? Because if you really believe that God has a plan for you, then what are you worried about? If you really believe he is in control, then why are you doubting? Some of y'all are sitting on dreams, sitting on gifts, sitting on opportunities because fear has convinced you that you're not ready. But let me tell you, God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. If he gave you the vision, he's going to give you everything you need to bring it to life. You just have to move. Even when you're scared, even when it doesn't make sense, even when you don't have all the answers. God is waiting on you to move. He's already set the blessing in motion, but you've got to take the first step. You can't wait for fear to disappear. You have to move despite it. That's what faith is. Faith is stepping out when you don't have all the answers. Faith is believing in the unseen. Faith is trusting that if God told you to do it, he's going to make a way. So today I need you to make a decision. Are you going to keep letting fear control you, or are you going to step into the faith that will change your life? Because the moment you choose faith over fear, everything shifts. God is not guessing with your life. He has a plan. He's not making it up as he goes along. Before you were even born, before you ever faced a single struggle, God already mapped out every step, every blessing, every breakthrough. So why are you stressing over things he's already worked out? Some of you are sitting in confusion, wondering why life is so hard, wondering if things will ever get better. But let me remind you, God is not a God of confusion. He is a God of order, a God of purpose, a God of promises. The problem isn't that God doesn't have a plan. The problem is that you don't trust it. See, when things don't go how you expected, you start panicking. You start thinking, God, did you forget about me? Did you change your mind? But let me tell you something. God doesn't make mistakes. That closed door, it was part of the plan. That delay, it was part of the plan. That struggle, it was preparing you for what's next. Some of y'all were trying to fight battles that God has already won. You're trying to control things that were never yours to control. But when you truly believe that God has a plan, you can stop stressing and start trusting, because his plan is always greater than your problems. His vision is bigger than your setbacks, and his promise is stronger than your doubts. So stop trying to figure everything out on your own. God already knows the outcome. He just needs you to trust him in the process. And when you do, when you finally surrender, when you finally let go of the worry and walk in faith, that's when you'll see just how powerful God's plan really is. The storm you're going through right now is temporary. I know it feels heavy. I know it feels like it's never going to end. But let me tell you something. Storms don't last forever. The pain, the struggle, the uncertainty, it's not permanent. It's just a season. See, the enemy wants you to believe that what you're facing right now is the end of the road. He wants you to think that this setback is forever. But let me remind you, God never leaves his people stuck. If you're in a storm, that means he's already planned a way out. If you're in the fire, that means he's already set up your breakthrough. Some of you are so focused on the storm that you're missing the lesson in it. God isn't punishing you. He's preparing you. He's building your strength, stretching your faith, making sure that when he takes you to the next level, you're ready for it. Because listen, you can't get to the promise without going through the process. You ever notice how after a storm, the air is clearer, the ground is refreshed, and new things start to grow? That's what's happening in your life. God is using this storm to wash away the old, to remove what's been holding you back, to set you up for something greater. So don't let the storm break you. Let it build you. Hold on. Stay faithful. Keep praying. Keep trusting. Because when it's all said and done, You're not just going to survive this storm. You're going to come out stronger, better, and blessed like never before. Your mindset shapes your reality. What you think you become. Some of you are living in defeat, not because God hasn't made a way, but because your mindset is keeping you stuck. You're speaking negativity over your life, over your situation, over your future, and then wondering why things aren't changing. But listen to me, your words have power. But let me flip that. What if you started speaking life instead? What if instead of saying, I can't, you started saying, with God, all things are possible? What if instead of saying, I'm struggling, you declared, I'm in a season of preparation for my breakthrough? Because when you shift your words, you shift your future. See, faith isn't just believing in God, it's believing in what he put inside you. It's knowing that even if you don't see the way, God is already making one. It's waking up every morning and saying, today is blessed. I am favored. I am walking in God's plan. So from this moment on, change your mindset. Stop focusing on what's wrong and start speaking what's right. Stop letting fear dictate your thoughts and start declaring victory over your life. Because the moment you shift your mindset, everything else in your life will follow.